Very good morning, all of you, members of Krīḍā, sports school, dear parents and students. When I look at this entire journey, it seems very similar. When after going through an entire exercise of producing colleges, educational institutions which focused on education primarily, on entrepreneurs who believed that this is a business model would work and brought it to a certain level of success, I think people like Srinivas have seen the need for something like this coming up. As Mr. Nagaraj sir has been teaching on sport, Palish Garu has been talking about education and science. After doing an entire cycle, you realize at some stage the futility of producing 1 or 2 people or 100 people or 1,000 people who cracked exams. But truly you're going back and say, is it really worth that effort? On that journey, you didn't see this coming. But maybe after this journey, when you sit back, you realize this is what has been happening and maybe we could have done it a different way. For me also as a coach, it's a very similar journey. It's a journey where you've produced Olympic medalists, you've produced world number ones, and then you come back and say, is that the only side of the story which is really worth it? Or does every kid have it in him? And is it more than this which meets the eye? And that is, I think, the culmination of what you see it is this group here and these experiments here. And these are probably some of the best experiments which I'm seeing in the education, the sporting side. And this is very much needed for India as a country. We've asked the wrong question all along. Which of these kids have the talent is the question which is being asked. Is my kid talented? I think it's time to ask this question the reverse way. It is all my kids are talented. I have to find out where their talent is. I think that's the fundamental switch we need to do. And I think that is very, very important. Sports is everything. There are people who would swear and say education and math and physics and chemistry is everything. But when you actually do this entire journey, you realize that education is very, very important. The kid who's trying to reach the stars cannot have a plan B. He will go after it saying that there is only one plan. I will be world champion. That's literally like you're shooting for the stars. The family, the school, the society, the teacher is the plan B. He should be the safety net. Because we know that 99.9% of the people who go on this journey will fail to reach that. But what is important is whether they reach it or not. And this is where I think Krīḍā could do another experiment along with your Prayoga could do another experiment. What are the benefits which sports brings in? We've always said medals. When I go to a system, when I go to a class, they're talk about they've got careers and as commentators, sports, medicine, coaches, physios, trainers. I'm saying forget it. Whatever they do in life, the seed quality which you develop by playing sport early in life is so good that whatever you do in life, you will be a champion. And it's time to quantify that element because for health, for happiness, for team spirit, for not giving up, for handling failure, these are medals which are so very important in life that whether you were your first or your last, you are definitely a champion just by participating in sport. But I think it's very important that 0 to 5th class, everybody plays all kinds of sport. Very important that they have a great active lifestyle because research now says that if you're fit once in a lifetime, you will delay disease by 10 years. So you can just get this finished off and bank it when you're young because it's much easier to do it at childhood because that's what sport tells you. Not many of us have learned anything by coaching methodology, but a keen eye to watch is lost when everything needs to be taught to them. I think just to watch, imitate and learn is such a big quality sport teaches you. We need to imbibe those things. When they lose, team members, the opposition is going to taunt you. And it's time to actually handle those pressures. At a young age, it's an important lesson. We need to do these things early on, bank it. And at 6th class, 7th class, if you don't have the capability to be a top class athlete, instead of the word talent identification, I would say put in a word called potential identification. At an age where you have say 11 and 12, just check whether he has the potential to be a top athlete or not. If he is not, let's go back and whatever he is interested, just pursue it for the next 4-5 years. And at an age 9 and 10, when there's academics, start focusing on it, and that's an important thing. I hope Prayoga does this experiment and the scientists start thinking on these lines as well. When I wrote my last exam, I put my pen down, almost like a dramatic fashion, put the pen off and said, never again am I going to study anything in my life. This is how depressed I was with studies. But then 5 years later, I have read every book which came in my hand. I dreamt, I wished I could go back to college, and I wish I can live my childhood in a college. I would hate these subjects, but I loved them later in life. So I think there's a lot of beauty in education. There's a lot of hollowness in only sport. There's a lot of hollowness in only education, and a right combination of it is what is needed for India for the future. And we need to celebrate these children. We need to celebrate these experiments, and these are very, very important. This is not going to come you can't adhere to something because of fear. You can only make them do something because they love it. And we need to find subjects, we need to find careers which they love and where they can actually spread their wings and fly. This is, I think, something as a great experiment. I think I'm very proud of what sports school is doing, and I'm happy that Prayoga has come up with this experiment for Krīḍā, and congratulations to the entire team. All the very best to the parents. Congratulations. It's actually strange to all the students. I think all the very best, and thank you very much.